Ladies and gentlemen, man, beast, and mer-like, good citizens of Tamriel, I bid thee welcome to Lore of ESLegends, a special series where we open the Elder Scrolls of knowledge that reveal all the knowledge and the lore of contained within your card collection. Inside this particular scroll contains the history, background, and a few noteworthy topics of a race who was raised through oppression to still be standing in a fairly decent state. This one hopes that you are ready for what is to come. Maybe learn something new. My personal favorite race, and the first race I've ever played as, well known as warriors, civilians, assassins, and guild recruits. The Argonians are like humanoids, hailing from the province of Blackmarsh. Though not most of the race was prosperous, not the most race of prosperous to walk through Tamriel. Aided by the mysterious histories, they've accomplished some amazing feats in this episode of the Lore of ESLegends, we will be discovering some of these feats. The Argonians hail from the province of Blackmarsh, also known as Argonia, a lively place filled with waterways, histories, and swamps. Not much is known about this treacherous place, as really only the lands around its borders have been thoroughly explored, with the inside not as well. The one thing that is known is that likely what lies at the center of the province is a sentient race tree known as the Hist. With the release of Elder Scrolls Online, Murkmire, perhaps we'll be able to see more of what this province is, its people, and how these Argonians in this part of Argonia react to others. Sadly, this is the best information we go by these days. Since those days, not much has came out of this interesting province in its more modern area. Perhaps, maybe we may have an Elder Scrolls 6 located in Blackmarsh? Only time will tell. There isn't much known about the Argonians throughout the First and Second eras. Not much events took place around this point. At this point in time, the Argonians weren't very open about their history before this, preferring to integrate with other cultures in Tamriel. Perhaps their upbringing wasn't a pleasant one, riddled with trials and events against the Argonians, but we aren't too sure about some of these. However, this race is one of the only, if not the few, major races whose home province wasn't completely conquered by the Rayman Empire. Again, this is because of the thick and dense swamplands that protected the core of Argonia, and thus its capital of Hellstorm remained free of Rayman's control. During this time, Argonia was where criminals too dangerous for normal prisons were sent, and was considered to be the Empire's biggest prison state. Also around this time, House Dress, one of the houses of Morrowind, began taking entire clans of Argonians back to the country to become slaves. And I only mention this one clan because it was the most prominent one to undertake in this action. While I'm sure other houses and other factions took Argonian slaves, House Dress was by far the most active and notable one in this affair. Things weren't better in the Second Era, as around 506 years at this time, a deadly plague called the Canaftian flu started in the city of Stormhold and began to spread across the land, killing almost everyone contracted by the plague. When I say almost everybody, only the Argonians, strangely enough, were immune to this plague, which will play into a factor that we will talk about later. But, however, because of this only brought more anger and oppression to the Argonians. Despite the plague affected on outsiders, House Dress continued to take slaves from their homeland, and during the closing of the Second Era was the second conquest of Argonia by Tiber Septim's empire. But, similar to Raymond's empire, they did not bother to try to take the capital at the center of the province, a strategic move in this one's opinion. Around the same time as the Oblivion Crisis, depicted in the fourth Elder Scroll, Oblivion, the Daedra under the command of Mehrum's Dagon attempted to invade Black Marsh, just like they did every other province. However, they didn't count on the Histories, who at this point hadn't really done anything to prevent the oppression and conquest and the enslavement of the Argonians. The Histories likely aided the Argonians this time because, unlike the mortal races of Tamriel, the Daedra actually posed a threat to the center of Black Marsh, where they inhabited, easily able to burn or twist the swamplands away to clear a path to them, or simply create portals beyond these swamps. Thus, during the events of Morrowind's Blood Moon expansion, the Hist were able to recall a large portion of Argonians back to Black Marsh to prepare for the incoming invasion. How much? Well, all Argonians affected by the history heard the call, and while not all of them answered, the majority would. When the Daedra invaded, the Histories enhanced the power of the Argonians, causing the formation of the military faction known as the Anaxil. The Anaxil fought back during the Daedra and proved to be so effective that the Argonians were able to drive the Daedra out of Black Marsh and eventually into the realm of Oblivion itself. In fact, they were so threatening that they decided to end the invasion. The Daedra closing all portals to not Morrowind, but Black Marsh. With this, Black Marsh also became the first empire to succeed from the Empire, and is also was the first to become its own independent province. During the Fourth Era, the aftermath of Red Mountain's eruption, the Anaxil launched an invasion against Morrowind in an attempt to recapture some of the lands that House Dress took away in the previous eras. Similar to the attack on the Daedra, they seemed unstoppable, but ultimately failed due to the mighty House Redorin rallying up the Dark Hills to resist the push on the Anaxil and eventually stopping it altogether for the time being. In the current Aldmeri against the Empire conflict, they remain a neutral state, too far away from the Dominion to have them pose a threat, and likely confident that the Empire couldn't recapture them. This is more speculation, but the scrolls do have this, and I must read it out. The Argonians are naturally resistant to diseases, immune in some cases, to almost every, as a matter of fact. Sanguinar Vampirus being the only one of these diseases that they aren't resistant, or that they are resistant. My apologies, they are not immune to it. Aside from allowing Argonian players to become vampires, one can say that because this disease has Daedric origins, players who are Argonian in nature are unable to have complete immunity over it. The same can be said for any form of were creatures, as it originates with Hircine. It is likely in the province of Blackmarsh that the two of the most prominent were creatures are the were cats and the were crocodiles. While the were crocodiles makes the most sense, the land being swampland, I'm unsure why were cats would be a creature inhabiting this plane. Anyhow, the race can also breathe underwater, and while gameplay-wise, wise players do not like this racial ability in a realistic situation, it ends up becoming a more tactical choice, being able to set up ambushes in the swamps of their homeland and making it a viable escape route for enemies. In Elder Scrolls Legends, the majority of the cards make up a good part of the scout classes, which is a great way to describe the race in general. And while this does not show up in Elder Scrolls Legends, they are also very good at lockpicking things. It is impossible to talk about the Argonians without talking about the Hist. Argonian culture is based around these trees, as many of the cards say when entering the field. I will protect the Hist. The power of the Hist fills me. The Hist provides. I draw power from these trees. Granted, not a card that cries out about the Hist, but one that speaks about them. And if I fall, the Hist shall reclaim me. Much of what is known about them I've already mentioned, with a few additions. The sap from these trees are constantly used in Argonian events and rituals, the trees acting as a hive mind, and anybody who ingests the sap become under the control of its hive mind. And the sap has no negative effect on Argonians, but causes all other races to perceive friend and foe alike, and attacking them in the process. In Oblivion, there is a history whose sap causes even Argonians to see friends and foes as the same. The exception who have drunk the sap and built up a tolerance to this. This can likely be explained by the tree was simply sick or infected with some sort of virus. In Skyrim, there is also a lone Hist tree out in the middle of nowhere, well, technically the wilds, but in the middle of no civilized land. And technically not giant civilized, like, you get the idea. It's an odd tree, however, as it does not come from the Hist groves of Blackmarsh. In addition to having a different color palette, its Hist sap is also harmless to anybody who consumes it, instead boosting the consumer's endurance, which is their health in the game, and causes a temporal state of drowsiness. In ESL, the card Histgrove could allude to the Histgrove also having the capability to have hive mind amongst the local creatures, such as swamp leviathans, and whenever it is in danger and is able to conjure up enough magicka or strength, it is able to call forth these swamp leviathans. These creatures were also likely used in the defense during the Oblivion Crisis. Argonians born under the shadow, a star pattern that looks like strangely enough, the rank 8 icon in-game, are taken at birth to become assassins for the royal court of Argonia, and, if they choose to, can become full-fledged members of the Dark Brotherhood. It is an honor to be a Shadowscale, as they follow a set of codes similar to the Dark Brotherhood. In Oblivion, as a matter of fact, it is stated that just as one and Dark Brotherhood is forbidden to kill another, a Shadowscale cannot kill another Shadowscale. Such is the case between Scartail and Tanava, as the hero of Kvatch is asked by Tanava to kill the rogue Shadowscale. It is not forbidden for a Dark Brotherhood to kill a Shadowscale, so long as they aren't also a Dark Brother. As the hero of Kvatch, you have the choice to dispatch of Scartail or find an Argonian heart to bring back to Nanava. Either or, he will be happy for the feat, even if you did not kill him. One legendary card to be added to the game is the Red Brahmin, an infamous pirate who lived in the First Era. Famous for his pirate raids and in-game his quote, "by the egg, surrender," he quickly became the target of Empress Hadrasta, who quickly demanded of his head. However, tracking down his pirate ship was no easy task, as he made for his home in the Argonian dense swamplands, and thanks to his knowledge of the lands, he easily navigated these treacherous waterways. A task that was very hard for the Empire to perform. But they were eventually able to track down and discover where Red Brahmin was hiding, killing the legendary Argonian and presenting his head to Hestera. And thus concludes our scroll on the Argonian races, a race that has, despite their harsh and difficult past, managed to survive and thrive, earning their spot in as one of the 10 playable races in the Elder Scrolls legend. But wait, what's this? What is this? What is this? We have been challenged. Oh, we must accept this. To arms, Argonians. To arms, my Argonian friends. We must act and defend ourselves from our challenger. By the egg, it is another Argonian, but playing as an assassin. What monster is this? Quickly, we must call forth our allies in the Dark Brotherhood. We must also call upon the blessings that were bestowed upon us. Anything that the Argonians have, we must use to our disposal. As stated, they have affinities with the Dark Brotherhood because of the Shadow Scales, as seen by a member of the Dark Brotherhood, but they also hold favors within the houses of Morrowind, being a consular of the Twin Lamps. By the egg, he passes. Must use our abilities as well as our elixirs that we have brought with us in order to try and hold off the Dark Elves. We should have known. It should have been known that the Dark Elves would try a stunt like this. Quick, to arm, my Dark Brotherhood friends. Drink the elixir, and we will get ready for battle. What is this? What is this? They are shackling. They are pressing us, and they are going on the offensive. We must not allow this to happen. To arms, Venom Tongues. We will play you in the other lane for strategic purposes, and give you some extra armor to boot in case a lightning bolt is coming our way. Not a lightning bolt, but the crushing blow of the Dark Elves is sadly too much for our Argonian brother to bear. Quickly, activate our blessings. Attack and ask Abe's from the Twin Lamps, who, because we were able to play the blessing, he has given us his blessing. Drink the last elixir, my friend. I fear we will need it for the coming future. What's this? He spikes his mana and then plays a red guard. Interesting. So it would seem that the Dark Elves have also brought along some red gods. Not red elves, they do not exist, but red gods. Masters of Iron. Of course, that would explain why he has a mace of encumbrance forged by the Red Guards.
They cannot have
And a house kinsman. While not a member of a house, is most certainly dire that the houses would try to hinder us. We are stuck in an interesting situation. We must call upon the power of the history to gain some extra magicka. And because of this, the history fills our Hellstrom footpad. We must attack and go on the offense. I fear what happened if we would not. Oh no. A dire situation has happened. Keywords. The Munda Stone and an arcane enchanter has been brought forth. He foolishly decides not to attack, allowing me to take the advantage. We must go on the offensive as quickly as we can. Thanks to our cunning, we are able to pull a daring heist off. And Twin Limbs Console comes out. However, it would be foolish to play it against the Keeper of Wisdoms, as I fear this mage of a Red God may have other tricks up its sleeve. Instead, we will call forth our stalwart ally, who unfortunately does not want to listen to us today. No problem. We can give cover to our Argonian brother. And thanks to this, we are able to repel any possible attack. Unfortunately, this doesn't seem to be the case. He got electrocuted. Oh no! We are starting to look dire from us. He reveals the unseen. What could this unseen be? We will find out soon, I assume. Sails Through Storm has came through. She is here to help guide us. The legendary Sails Through Storm has taken up our cause. We end our turn, and we see what our opponent wields. Oh no. They also have Daedric support too? This is a nightmare. This is dire indeed. We must call forth our next champion, if we have one. Preserver of the Root, a very noble Argonian. We call out a Highland Lurcher, a minion of the Swamplands. Thank you to the mighty History Grove for granting us this boon. Take our potion and Sails Through Storm. You will need it to survive and go on the offense. It is looking dire for our opponent, but it looks like they got a keyword. What is this keyword? We will find out soon, I assure. It is looking very dire for our opponent, as he might not know what to do. He attacks our Hellstrom footpad, but it does not kill his friend. Perhaps he might be able to find a way to come back. Unfortunately, it does not look like the case. But what's this? He called upon the power of a dragon! This is dire news indeed. It looks like we may have the advantage for now. We draw forth the Shadowfen Priest. I do not believe we need it. Oh no, a prophecy has happened. No, I lied. There is no prophecy. We must attack and continue to attack. And because I do not like this stronghold incubator, obviously a relic for the dwarves. We will bring forth it and draw a leaf. What a blessing. I fear that we cannot kill him while he has Daedric support, so we must kill his legendary artifact. It would seem that he is out of options. Oh no, a charge, but this does not hurt us at all. But wait, a Master of Arms? Oh no, and God is able to shackle one of our creatures and then plays forth a rebuilder. The situation is looking dire for him, but he's indeed trying to hold off. Trying to come back. Unfortunately, it seems like we are stuck. We can't move. What kind of foul magic is this, preventing us and our warriors from actually striking
Your
back?
destruction is at hand.
He's definitely playing a lot of tactics, and even gaining some extra health in the process. And
Greetings
what is this?
from the last living dwarf.
The last living dwarf has came to aid him. This is not good. Not good indeed. The situation is not looking very well. Oh no. Sails Through Storm has just died. Oh. We are really feeling this. This is a terrible loss. And because of this treacherous and this awful loss, we are unable to pull forth the win. How dire is this? Wait, we have no, we must hold on to this, just in case. Must hold on to this. Cannot allow ourselves to play this at the moment. It might hurt us.
What have we here?
An elixir of conflict. This surely might give us the win that we were hoping for. We must hopefully hope that our opponent does not play anything.
Your thorn is no match for mine.
As do it. The dragon has came forth, and it is going to attack us. Oh no! We are in a dire situation, my friends. But we will stand forth. The Argonians call upon the might of the Vipers, the history coming in to help us.
The waters of life.
Must aid the history in summoning the swamp leviathans. Only with the power of the haste, I fear that we may win. Our opponent, however, not looking so good on health. What is this? Revealing the unseen has pulled something dire.
Your destruction is at hand.
Not as dire as I may have thought, but definitely dire indeed.
At your service.
What? He has gotten charged but chooses not to use it. Must call forth the power of the Hist. The Hist trees have rewarded us with more magicka, and because of this, we are able to try and come back. Our Vipers not choosing the correct path puts us in dire and close to dying. Must give blessing to our warriors and summon forth as many Argonians as we can. For the Argonians, with their worship, may yet win the day. Stronghold Incubator has come out with a snake, and he crisps our Argonian brother. How dare he? Already in honorable comment, though, he kills our brother. What's this? The history has activated. The Hist Grove. Our swamp leviathans are ready, but they must require a turn of prep. Must defend them for as long as we can. Call forth all the Argonians, all of them, as quickly as we can. Red Brahmin, the Red Brahmin himself, has answered the call. Same with a veteran. By the egg, we may yet win this battle. Our opponent is trying desperately to come back, sacrificing his own incubator to try to see what he can gain. Unfortunately, it looks like it might not be enough. The ward, while great, and puts the situation as bad. He missed with his lightning bolt. I do not know how he could do this, but it means our swamp leviathans, with the aid of our Argonian brothers, can pull off the end. Can pull off the feat of victory. By the egg, he should have surrendered. We summon the rest of our Argonians, but the swamp leviathan handles it with care. I apologize for the sudden. What is this? What has just happened? Oh well, it does not matter. For thus, this now officially concludes the scroll. Thank you everybody for tuning in. I'm a little lightheaded after the end of all that. I decided to try something a little new with this episode, and I hope it ends up going very well. I hope this little addition, I'm hoping to make it a little bit smoother as time goes on. I don't have an effective video editor on this computer, so unfortunately this one kind of had to take the bullet. Like I said, it's a work in progress series, so yeah, there we are. Before we end this video, just as a few disclaimers, some of these pictures are used from the Elder Scrolls Legends games. We actually got a chance to see almost all of these. We didn't get to see the Soul Rest Marshal, unfortunately, be played, but we did get to see the Sly Marsh Blade and the Black Marsh Warden card come into play. Some of this art is taken from the other games, such as the Two Histories, and of course Tanava, looking good as always, my friend. And some are taken from the fine works of other people. While I'm not 100% sure about the top two, the bottom one I know was taken from a DeviantArt page, one that I will include the link to in the description below. Fantastic art, may I add. And the music, I will also throw a link in the description. Not mine. It's a guy, a YouTuber, compilated a bunch of music together, and thus I decided to use this. It's going to be the music of choice for all of our videos from here on out for this series. So, yeah. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, I bid thee a farewell.